Hey there, this is Melissa Marty with To Be Remembered Designs on Facebook, and I am here on November 1st, 2014 with a special video tutorial for Digital Scrapbooking Day. My little gift to you today. I hope you're enjoying your scrapbooking weekend, and I am going to teach you today about how I create double page layouts in StoryBook Creator and Artisan. I've had a ton of people ask me questions about how I do it, and so I'm going to show you what I do. Now you have a couple options to get started. You need to decide if you want to work in a book or if you want to work on just a single double page spread, and I'll show you how to do it both ways. Now the first thing you need to think about is what template you want to use. If you're going to do this from scratch, you don't really need my help. You'll just go ahead and go into a 12 by 24 layout or in your book and just create on your own. But if you want to use templates, you have to think about whether the templates that you are going to use are single 12 by 12 templates or if they're already formatted for a 12 by 24 page for you. So I'm going to show you an example of both. Now if we go to where I have my templates saved, I have Fiddle-Dee-Dee Designs brand new Double Time 4 templates that came out this weekend for Digital Scrapbook Day. And here's the preview so you can see what they look like. So it's 2 double pages, and the template comes as a 12 by 24 and another 12 by 24, but it also comes as single 12 by 12 layouts. So if you're somebody who likes to work in a book, you will just use the individual 12 by 12 pages on each side of your book layout, and that would be fine. You will use it just like any other template. If you don't use books, or if you prefer to work on one single layout like I do, and I'll show you why, you will use the whole big 12 by 24. And the easiest way to open them up is just to double click them. So here's one of the 12 by 24 layouts. I'll just double click it where I have it saved, and it will pop open over here in StoryBook Creator for me. So you don't have to worry about creating a new document and custom sizing it and all of that. Just double click it and it will open up, and then you can go ahead and use it like any other template. Add in your photos, add in your embellishments and your story, and then at the end you'll save it as a page file and then also as a JPEG, and I will show you how to do that and what to do with it then when we get to the end of the video. So that's one way that you can use the 12 by 24 layouts. Now if you work in a book, let me just create a new book quick. And we'll do a 12 by 12, a blank one. And create. Just give it a second to put my 20 pages in. And we'll have our book project. So if you're somebody who works in a book, you will go to your first double spread here. And to add your template onto here, you'll say Change Template from my computer. You'll navigate to where you have that template saved. And then you will use the individual left and right instead of the whole big 12 by 24. So I'll put this one on this side. And then you'll go to page 3 and do the same thing. You'll say use a page file from my computer. And you'll grab the right side and it will add it here. And now when you say view, you can view them side by side. So you can see what it will look like when printed. So this is very similar to working with it as a 12 by 24 layout. Let me just show you the main difference. I prefer to work with the 12 by 24 layouts. I love working in books, and I do work in books for my family album. But typically in my family album, my side-by-side pages are not double spreads. I don't do double spreads a whole lot. So my left side and my right side are usually completely separate pages. I use different kits, I use different photos. I don't coordinate like that. When I do want to do a double spread where I use the photos from the same event and the same kit across, I always create as a 12 by 24 and then put it back into my book afterward. And the reason I do that is because if I work on it like this, everything flows together. It's all on one. I don't have to sit and flip back and forth. So if I'm adding in a paper that I want to use on both pages, or a flower or a button that I want to use on both pages. It's super easy to do it when you're using a 12 by 24. Whereas if you're in your book and you want to add a flower on this page, because that's the page I'm on right now, you can add your flower, but then to add it on this page, you have to click over here and you have to save your changes. And I don't know about you, but that always seems to take a long time on my computer, especially as you get a lot of layers going on your layout. So you have to wait for it to save changes, just to come back over here to add your flower. And then if you say, oh crap, I wanted to add that flower down here too, now you have to come back and save your changes again. I mean, I didn't make any changes, but if you had, you have to save your changes again, wait the 20 to 30 seconds. It just takes up a lot of time. It irritates me. So I like to work on a 12 by 24 when I'm going to make a double page spread. So that's what I'm going to do today with you. Now I showed you how to do it if you have a double page spread that's already set up for you by the designer. But those are kind of hard to find. There aren't a lot of designers who create 12 by 24 layouts, especially for page users, whereas 12 by 12 templates are everywhere. So let's say that you want to use 12 by 12 templates to create your double page and you want to work on a big spread like this. Let me show you how to do that. So we'll go back to the welcome menu and you're going to have to create a new page. And we need a custom size because we want it to be a 12 by 24. Now I have that set up already, but if you don't, you would say new custom size. And here's my double page spread. So now you need to decide what template you want to use. When you look at your templates, you can do two things. You can pick one template that you want to use twice and use it on both sides for your left and your right, or you can pick two separate templates. Now I'm going to go ahead and use this template twice. So I'm going to double click to open it, and it's not going to open on my big double spread, and that's okay. Here it is here. And we're going to say Control A to select everything. And I don't need this little thing, so I'm going to hold down Control and unselect that. I just want everything else. And make sure that you also don't have your background selected. So if you hold down Control, you can click that and it will unselect that and everything else will stay selected. Now we want to copy all of these elements and paste them onto our double page. So we're going to right click and say copy. You could also say Control C, that copies. And now go to your new page and we're going to say Control V, or you can right click and paste. And here is our layout. Once you get close to where you want your pieces to go, you can use your arrow buttons to kind of nudge things around a little bit. Okay, and that looks about like it was before. So there we go. I have these lined up here, and these should be lined up at the 12 mark. And if you want to put a line at the 12, you can, just so you can keep track of where the middle is. Okay, so now everything is on here, and we're going to copy all of that again and paste it. And I still have it copied, so I should be able to right click and say paste again. And there are all my layers. Now I'm going to group them all together so that I can rotate it. I don't like to simply duplicate and have it right next to each other and have it look exactly the same. I think that that's a little bit too repetitive for my taste. I mean, that would be like this, and I'm not going to unselect it all because I want to keep it selected, but that looks really repetitive. So I'm going to rotate that whole right side, and you can rotate it to the left, to the right, 180, however you want. But first, to rotate it, you need to group it. So we'll group. It'll take a couple seconds because it's a lot of layers. And now it's grouped. You can see everything here is on one layer. And now you can rotate. So I'm going to rotate it to the, yeah, I think I like that. Rotate it that way. And we're going to scooch it over a little bit so that the flowers will line up on the edge over here. And you can ungroup, and it will break all those layers back apart for you. Now obviously your journaling is sideways. You'll have to fix that when you put your own journaling in. But this journaling is not a live box anyway. You can't double click and edit it. So you'll have to put in your own journal box anyway, so you can just make it go the right way. And if any of your photo boxes are live, your photos will be twisted also when you put them in there. I don't know if these are live. Oh, they are. Okay, I'll show you. Let me go to my photos and I'll show you how to do that real quick. So if you are using this picture, for example, and you drop it in this box, since we rotated, it will have the photo rotated in that box. Obviously, that's not what you want, so you'll come to Format Photos and rotate the photo in that frame, and you can rotate it back. It's just a little step. Doesn't take too long, and then you can still slide it around and do it however you want. So for those 3 photo boxes on this page, you'll have to rotate your photo back so that it's upright. But that's how you do it, and that flows really well together. I like it a lot. You can switch it up however you want, but that's how you can use one template on both sides to make a double page spread that flows and coordinates and looks great together. So that's one option. There are more, so I'm going to show you something else. What I like to do most is to use 2 separate templates to create my double page spread. And when I do that, I definitely recommend that you at least pick 2 templates that are from the same designer. But if you can, pick 2 templates that are from the same template pack, because designers, when they design template packs, often have the same kind of theme go throughout the 4 templates that come in the pack. So they'll have a lot of paint splatters, or they'll have a lot of chevron, or they'll have a lot of flowers, or a lot of frames. And it makes a big cohesive feel throughout all those templates that come in the pack. So if you look, for example, at this Fiddle Dee Dee design pack called Badge of Honor 4 that came out in September, I think, of this year. Here is what the templates look like that are in this template pack. So you can see that they all have some scallop elements in them. They have these like badgy looking circle things. They have, a lot of them have tilted photos. This one doesn't, but the rest do. They all have the same kind of splatter paint on them. So they have the same kind of feel. So you should be able to really pick any 2 of these and use them side by side and have a nice double page spread. Whereas if I picked one from Fiddle Dee Dee Designs and one from Scrapping with Liz and tried to put those together, they might not look so great next to each other. So I would recommend picking one template pack that you have the whole pack of, picking 2 templates from within that pack that you like, and you can put them side by side. You can still feel free to rotate as much as you want and move things around, but they should mesh very well together. So I'm going to use these top 2 and show you how to make a double page spread with those. So I will do this one first. Open it up, and we're going to hit Control A to select all. And remember, we don't need this one because that's this little extra stuff, and we don't need the background layer. And then we will right click and copy, or you can hit Control C. And then Control V to paste, or right click and paste. And I'm going to move this over about there. Okay, and now I'm going to go grab my other one, so I need to close this one out because I can't have too many things open. And let's open up the second template. Control A to select all, and then you can unselect the things you don't need, like the background and that little information. Right click, copy, go back to your new page, and Control V to paste. And then you can move it over. Whoops, too far. Okay, now you can see that there are some pieces that are going to get kind of overlapped in the middle. And I'm not going to unclick because then I won't be able to do the next step very easily. But these 3 photos in the middle hang over the middle of the page, and that really bothers me when I put 2 pages together, because if you're going to print page prints to put in your traditional album, then you're going to have just a tiny sliver of these photos on your left page and all the rest of them on your right page. And that's not the look that you really want. So to get rid of that, I'm going to group everything together and rotate this side just 90 degrees. That way these photos that are going to get cut off a little bit are up along the top. And then these photos that get cut off are along the right and the bottom. And the middle is safe. So I'm going to go to Arrange, Group. Just give it a second. And then rotate to the right 90 degrees and then ungroup. Okay. Okay, so now remember that when you drop your photos in here, since I rotated this background, or this whole side, your photos will need to be rotated back, but you can do that easily in the Format Photos menu right here. You'll just rotate them back to the left 90 degrees. And this looks really great together. I would maybe make a few changes. Since this left side has the scallop that goes across the top and the bottom, I would probably copy and paste that onto the right side as well, just to give it a little bit more of a cohesive feel. So I would hold down Shift and pick those 3 layers, right click and copy, and then paste them in. And you can just slide them across the top to where they need to be. Alright, and then I would even slide this one over to meet up in the middle, I think. Okay, so now if we zoom in a little bit, you can see up here that, you know, you can still see the little seam between these, and if that bothers you, then you can go ahead and flatten them together. Otherwise, you can replace them with something from your kit, or you can just not worry about it, because when you print this, that's going to be right where the page is split anyway, so you won't see that when you print your 2 pages. So that's okay. Let's zoom back out to see everything. And you are ready to get started. This looks great. It flows well. You can add your papers and your photos and everything, your embellishments in your story, and make a great layout. Now when you have your layout finished, you're going to save it. Let me close this out of here so I can open up one more thing. You're going to save it first as a PS or as a page file. And then you will say File, Save As, and you will also save it as a JPEG, just like you normally do when you complete your pages. And you will save it at the highest resolution you can. And I've already done all that, so I'm going to go ahead and open mine. And you can see what I made using this template. Okay, so here is, again, the template that we just put together. And this is what I did with it. I made a couple changes. I added a couple other photo spots over here and put a bigger spot for my journaling. But it's basically the same thing. I've got the scallops across the top and the ribbons. You can see the shadow line in the middle there, but I'm not going to stress about it because you'll never see that after it's printed. And I have this saved as a great big JPEG file. Now, depending on where you print, you may be able to use it just like this and upload the whole 12 by 24 layout in JPEG format to your printing preference place. And then you can add it into your book or put it on the individual page prints once you get it in there. Some places don't let you do that. I print a lot of the times at Snapfish, and I find that if I try to upload the big 12 by 24 layouts, I can, but I find that they look not quite as crisp and clear as if I split it into 2 12 by 12s and upload those. So I prefer to split it into the 2 12 by 12s. So if you want to do that, once you have your big 12 by 24 opened up, you need to create a new 12 by 12 page. So So then I can come over here and copy. And paste it onto my 12 by 12. And if you want to make sure that it's lined up perfectly, you can select both and arrange. You have to have this unlocked first. Line up the right or the left side, and it will be lined up perfectly. And then you can file, save as, and you'll save it as a JPEG, and you'll save it as Houghton Trip Left. Save it as the highest quality, but I'm going to drop it down just so it doesn't take as long. There you go. And then you'll do the same thing for the right side. So you'll make a new page. I probably could have just used the same one that I just had open. That's okay. I'm going to paste again, unlock the background, select them both, and align the right side. And then this will be my right page. File, save as, a JPEG, Houghton Trip Right. Again, I'm going to drop it down just for time's sake, but you'll leave it at 10. So now if you go to my desktop where I have saved them, you have your right side, your left side, and your, somewhere I have my full version that you can use any of those that you need to print your projects. And that is what you do. So that is how I work with double page spreads in StoryBook Creator. I do not use the book option just because I don't like to have to sit and flip back and forth between the two pages. So now that I have my 2 pages done, I would put those in here. So I would go to my desktop where I have them saved. And again, you'd want to use the full strength version, not these reduced size, but I would just drag them in. Oops. And you can just say center on page. And then I would go to the next side. Drag in the right side. Say center on page. And there's your double page spread in your book so that when you print your book you have it all together. Make sure that you have your full version saved as a page file still so that you can edit it if you find a typo or something like that in your book, because these are not editable. These are flattened JPEGs now. So if you wanted to edit it, you'd have to go back to your page file and edit that and then put these back in. So that's how I do double page spreads. So now that you know, go ahead and look through your Digi Stash from this digital scrapbook weekend. Pick some goodies to create a double page with, and share it with me on my To Be Remembered Designs Facebook page. Thanks so much for stopping in, and I hope you have a great weekend.